Any questions? I'm going to look down and not look up now and say no. Yeah.
Hi Mary, 2 questions. One, so the changes you mentioned in terms of the selection criteria, that's going to be from this fall?
Yeah.
And 2, it doesn't seem like there's going to be actual changes in the questions being asked on the application. So the understanding is you read the selection criteria and then you think about ways in which you are incorporating that in the message you send in the materials that are already there.
Basically, we're not really changing the selection criteria. Those are our selection criteria. It's not that we've decided to change anything. It's just that we've never put it down in black and white to allow everybody to see what we're looking at. So it's not so much that we're changing, which is why we don't need to change the application, because actually the application is already looking at, but these will help you fill out the application form in a way that answers some of the things we're looking for.
Hi Mary.
Hi.
I was wondering about selection criteria, or the composition of selection committees, because one of the things I've noticed is that especially small places, liberal arts colleges, are not particularly well represented among those selected or even those interviewed. And I was wondering if you could address that.
999 applications for 33 scholarships. I'm not belittling that, but in the end, we only have 33 scholarships. Every year, we have at least one new school, if not more, who gets a Marshall for the first time. I truly do not believe that our committees are biased against any section of this sector. I think the private universities and the Ivies have the advantage of being able to send applicants to every pool, whereas you may only be able to send them to one pool. Our committees are very aware of how what the makeup of is, and if all things being equal, they would, if they had an Ivy and somebody from a liberal arts college and everything else was equal, I'm on tape, I think they would go, that would be a factor in it. And I do know that. And I mean, in some ways, I actually know that, because I know that we have a student from the University of Alaska who, the committee, when they were doing their shortlisting, said to me, have we ever had a student from the University of Alaska? Because actually, we don't think we have. And I was able to look at the stats and say no. And it was a factor. And I do think they try the best. But many of our regions now only have 3 scholarships to offer. And when you've only got 3 scholarships to offer, it's very difficult. I think Caroline, having had 30 years of experience, may be able to say something more to that.
I would say that the selection committee, they definitely look for... Can you not hear me? Sorry. The Midwest Selection Committee that I sat on for 30 years, or supervised for 30 years, always looked for people from the smaller, the liberal arts colleges, and we always had committee members from those. So I think your perception is not altogether true.
We're trying, and we're going to try. We're going to keep trying, and we don't want you to not apply. And I think you do need to keep applying, because if there's no application, you won't ever get a scholarship. You have to apply, but you're not going to get a scholarship every year. Nobody gets scholarships every year. You know, there are a lot of schools who, if you look at our statistics, you'll see schools that were like successful for year after year after year, and then suddenly it's like nothing. So, we do our best, and we are really trying to ensure that our committees are being fair and equal. And I believe they are. I do believe they are, because if we believed we had a major problem, we would do something about it. And we send commissioners to sit on many of our interview panels, so they are observing, and when we compare the results, Jane has been at our Ambassadors Advisory Council when we've talked about these issues. It's a genuine awareness, so I really do believe, but as I said, 999 applications for 33 scholarships. It makes it hard to get everybody. And we don't build a class, because we've got 8 different regions selecting 8 different sets of students.
Hi, Mary.
Hi.
I work with a lot of students who look at 2 different universities for consecutive one-year master's programs. And I'm just wondering how, from your end, you perceive students, maybe one of the universities is a partner and one isn't, and how those...
That's absolutely fine. I mean, I would say that if we had 3 students who wanted to go to Cardiff, for example, one of those would be a partner scholarship, and the other 2 would be fully funded by Marshall. So there isn't a quota on this sort of thing. But actually, it's not a problem. If they want to go to Southampton in their first year and St Andrews in their second year, that's absolutely fine. And I would say also that the academic programme is very important. Initially, when they are looking at the progression of what the 2 masters are going to be, that is very important. However, you should be aware that once they get to the UK, every scholar who's doing a 2 masters programme has an academic advising appointment with me, and we look at all the options. So they aren't tied hard and fast into their second year programme. Many of them do what they said they originally wanted to do. Others will change. However, first year programme, don't you go putting Cardiff on there and then suddenly go, oh, you'll never guess, when they get selected, I've just found this programme in Oxford. The Commission is incredibly strict about that. You do what you said you wanted to do. That's what the whole interview was about. So either you were lying to us at the interview, but yeah, we're very strict. The only time somebody will be allowed to change is if a supervisor moves or the course isn't offered anymore. But on the whole, we have had situations where students are trying to play the system by putting a partner down, thinking that once they get the scholarship, they can then say, oh, you'll never guess, I didn't see this programme before, but actually the University of Oxford offers, because it's not going to happen. There's one here, one at the front.
Well, since there don't seem to be any other questions, I actually did want to publicly say thank you to the Marshall Scholarship Program. I have had the opportunity for the past couple of years as president to sit in with their advisory board as they tackled some really challenging questions. When the issue came up of gender, the apparent gender bias in their selection process, Marshall took this really, really seriously and spent a great deal of time and an effort coming
and statistics
actually looking at this and addressing it. And I just want to sort of publicly say, applaud you guys for taking the time to do that. The idea of rolling out and looking at their selection criteria and trying to make that, trying to level their playing field among the regions was a direct effort to address some of these issues of these perceptions that there are biases that are out there. So just want to let you guys know that I was privileged enough to have witnessed and in some cases participated in that on your behalf. And I think that what they have laid out here in terms of their eligibility, we should all be really happy with. So thank you.
Thank you, Jane. I think there was another question at the back. Sorry, I think I get an extra 5 minutes. Roads overran. Sorry, Elliot, if you're still here.
Could you just clarify a little bit how, as you said, the criteria hasn't actually changed and the application isn't changing. So how are you envisioning that this is going to then change the end results and lead to?
Because I think that you'll be better able to identify the students that should be applying for Marshall and help them to answer the things. We think that I think it comes down to that the students that have the most support often will be able to articulate what we're looking for, because there's so many of you that are so experienced and you're able to know past students and everything else. So what we're trying to do is level the playing field so that if you're a student, you're the only student and you have a fellowship advisor who's never done this before and they're not really sure what a Marshall is, and that's fine. But at least with the criteria, that gives them a kind of real indication of what we're looking for, how to answer the questions. And actually, if nothing more, it's a way of making your students really think about what it is we're looking for, which we've never put into words before. And I think that's, for us, is the important thing, is we've never, and we think, as I said earlier, the research shows that there's something going on at shortlisting stage with gender. We're not really sure what it is, and it may actually be a false There are so many examples of why gender could be one thing or another. And we just wanted to make sure that if you level the playing field by telling everybody what it is that we're looking for, that actually then there isn't, that factor's taken away. The factor of I don't really know what they're looking for, what is a Marshall Scholarship, you know, oh, I didn't know that I was supposed to be ambassadorial and leadering and everything else. Leadering, that's a good English word. Well done, Dania.
So it seems like the idea is that we're not putting forward the right women, and I mean that's what I'm hearing you saying.
I'm not going to get. I have no. There are all kinds of studies, and I'm going to admit here that one of the statistical things was run by the chair of the Chicago committee. She's a chemist, and the report I didn't really understand, but I understood the outcomes. But we don't know. But we're going to see if this works, and we really care about it, and it's something that worries us. And so, but it isn't just gender. There's all kinds of other things, and it's not just us either. And so, you know, it's just trying to see if we can level the playing field to a point where we can take that variability out of the equation and see what happens then. Any more questions? No more questions. Okay.